This is a presentation on processing EIGCMS data in the Chromatogram window of the NIST26 new software package. It includes the video and an associated handout. You might want to look at the video and the handout because I might have forgot to put information in one or the other. You can see the full course on this NIST26 with the new integrated deconvolution/library searching for the EIGCMS and LCMS-MS on my website. AMDIS is used in the new deconvolution software within the integrated approach, but the standalone version is still available. And you might still want to use the standalone at times because it allows you to display results from multiple hits for the same entry, and you can compare two files looking for differences and some other different things that you might find useful. There's extensive documentation on the standalone AMDIS on my web page, and here's the link to the website below. It's useful to select the version that you want to use because it will do LCMS, MS, and EIGCMS. So let's go to the program to demonstrate that. When you first go into the version, you can get help, but it depends on what's displayed, what help you get. So it's probably better to find out all the very useful information by going to the help topics and going to the index and putting in the chromatogram, chromatogram. And now you see the useful information. Click on the chromatogram tab. It has some very good information. And also at the bottom are these tips, which I found particularly good. So you have that. And then also you have the GC chromatogram information over on the side also. So take a look at all that documentation. I think you'll find it very useful in learning how to use the software. So after we get in here, we have to set up which one you're going to do. A lot of times, since on my system I have both, you can select the spectrum type, and if you put any, since I have both of them, I will see both of them. So if you have one or the other, it's probably just best to pick one. So select the spectrum type, and this video is on EI, so we'll pick it. And now it simplifies the menu. Then to open a file, go Analyze EI Input File. You can pick the data file you want. We'll do this Grobe mix, and there's lots of different file formats, but this one's actually in .d, the Agilent format. And we'll open that. And you also need to set the libraries. You can do multiple libraries. MainLib and RepLib are the ones that come with the NIST software, but you can also combine that and use, in addition, the Wiley Lib and even user libraries to search them all at one time within this window. So we'll just leave it like that. AMDIS deconvolution settings, I usually just leave them standard, but you can change those for your needs. And you can run in the background if you want to, and the program will alert you when it's through. So let's go ahead and run it to open the file. It will bring up the results here in a second or two. When you get through, you can see that it searched 66 things after it deconvoluted, and here's the chromatogram at the top, results at the bottom. If you click on any of the little circles, it'll highlight it in the bottom. And you'll also see the results for any circle. Like if you wanted to see how that compared to the library results, you can go up to the top, and on the top will be the unknown, and on the bottom will be the best library hit. And in this program, you only get the best library hit. You can still send it to the lib search if you want to find out additional information, but it only shows you the best hit. You can expand it if you want to, and then you can unzoom it, or you can double left click. I right clicked and said undo zoom, but you could zoom it and then say double left click and it'll go back. The top window up here, you can zoom it also. But to get back to it, if you right click, there's no option. You have to double left click on it. So that's pretty much what you see in this window. A lot of times you have a lot of things on the baseline here. So sometimes I find it useful to go to Properties. I right clicked and went to Properties, And now instead of for the abundance, I will put it on the log scale for the abundance, meaning the concentration. So now we have the display at the top. You can see that we've brought everything above the baseline, so it makes it a little bit easier to see the relative concentrations of the lower level species. So I find that useful at times. So I'll leave it there. So let's talk about some of the options that are available on the top menu up here. You can reload on backup, startup if you bring it back in. Highlight the score allows you to decide which ones you want to highlight. So if you want to highlight only things above 900, you can see now they're in yellow dots at the top, and the whites are the ones below 900. It did not change the search list below when you did that. It only changes what's shown with yellow dots at the top to highlight them. If you want to change the filter to the score at the bottom, you would change it to, in this case, 900. And now that you can see up here, we have only 19 of the 65 that we initially got. You can see this hits, always pay attention to the top, this number of hits. But let's just go and undo all that for now. But it's handy to do all that so you can process all of that. The max to meet is some type of filter for lower level components, and it's described a little bit better in the handout. Essentially, if you put greater than 50 for that value, you can see it only shows the major components, and you can go down to about 10 or so, and you can see more components. Now we've gone to 35 components. So that's a very handy filter. Put it back on all. Now we've gone back to our 66 up at the top. Merge duplicate IDs. When the other AMD is standalone, I've noted when I used it a lot that you get multiple markings for the same peak. It can't decide if it should show it as a separate component or not. But when you put this filter on here, it will not mark another peak within 2 seconds that has the same library hit. So it's very useful for getting rid of multiple markings on the peak. So 2 seconds is reasonable, 1 second, and just adjust it and see what fits your needs. So that's most of the filters on the top. So let's go down and talk about other things like sorting using the control key. So let's first just, you can double click on or single click on the abundance, and now if it's not at the top, you can click it. I want the top abundance to be 100, which means the base peak in the chromatogram up here, the most intense will be this peak, and you can see it's in green now. So that's the one that's 100% abundance. And then we have all the ones that fall below. Now, if I just wanted to see things, let's say above 1%, you have to go and use the shift key or the control key. The shift's the best because it does a group. The control does one at a time or deselects one at a time. So I'm going to hold the shift key on my keyboard while I touch this. Now I have all of these components highlighted, and I'll right click on this window and I'll say show selected. Now I've gotten rid of all the minor peaks. Myself, I like to look at things from left to right, so you can notice the retention time is not in that order. So I'll click on retention time, brought the longest to the top. I'll click again, and now I have the smallest retention time at the top. And what I like to do now, if I'm just reviewing the data, I like to just step through it using the keyboard keys, the arrows. So I left click on the first one, and then I just do the arrow for the second, and you can see I can go up here and look at all the results up here and see the structure for everything. So you can quickly step through everything and see if that's what you would like. So I find it very easy to review things. So there's a lots of different ways you could sort it depending on your needs. But that's the general workflow using the EI GCMS deconvolution. Now, if I wanted to send those to a report, say if I wanted to send all of these, I could just say select all of them. I went to the top, select to the top, went to the shift key, and click the bottom. Now I have them all selected, and all I have to do is say copy selected hits to clipboard. Now, if I have Excel open, I can just go click in the top cell and say paste. And there are all my results. And then I could edit them any way I wanted to and You can send them out to a user, etc. So that's really pretty much the basics. Like I said, you might want to look at my handout because I might have missed some things. I was looking through my list of things to talk about. I think that's the majority of what I wanted to talk about. But there was one thing I did leave out. After you get all these things set up the way you want to, you need to go to a different window besides Chromatogram because Chromatogram does not let you save the configuration. And that can be very valuable after you get everything set up like you want so you don't have to start from scratch everything. So click on another window such as lib search. I click the tab at the bottom of your screen. I come up and I say File, Save Configuration. And so it'll save it in configuration file for me, and I'll put in whatever I want to call it and say Save. After I get through, it'll show up as one of the ones that I can restore a configuration. And plus, there'll be a couple of configurations that NIST has probably included with the software. So I hope you found that useful. Talk to you later. Bye.